a lot of people want to wait for some savior to come down and help them and to create positive change in their life, or I'll do this when this time is right. Time is now. Time is now to take care of yourself. And this journey starts within, and we all have this like-minded mission that we're on, is to overcome ourselves. Hey everyone, welcome to the Frontline Warriors podcast with your hosts, Peter and Matt. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is a podcast where we teach you how to live it, not in it, one battle at a time. This is a podcast where we're going to be having every other Monday, bi-weekly drops of your latest Frontline episodes. It's going to be an exciting, jam-packed episode or podcast teaching you about how to accomplish everything you desire.
Yeah, we are all Frontline Warriors. But what does it actually mean to be a frontline warrior? What is a frontline warrior? What does that entail? A frontline warrior is anybody that wants to achieve higher consciousness. They just want to be more aware of themselves and the surroundings around them. Because when it comes to the essence of what it means to be conscious, that's all it is. It's just being aware. And there's two parts to be aware of: yourself, which is you as a person, and everything around you. Yeah. Because they both have an impact on the way you walk through life and the way you do certain things and the way you pursue certain things.
Peter and I have always been curious growing up. We always wanted to understand things and always question things. And our creative juices went into trying to understand ourselves. After nursing school in 2018, we blog posted. It was always centered around personal development, mindset, trying to better yourself in diet, exercise. We're always trying different things, diets. And we've realized that it's so important to take care of yourself and focus on yourself, which was never taught in school. And throughout this journey, we've realized that everybody has a common enemy, and that enemy is yourself. So what Frontline does, it helps to get to know the enemy and who you're up against, your shadow side, your roommate, whatever you want to call it. It's meant to be integrated closer to your body, because the further we're away, disconnected from ourselves, that creates dis-ease. And dis-ease is disease. So we want to help you to live with truth, well-being, and actually optimize your life to pursue everything you want, which is happiness ultimately.
Yeah, and it's a holistic approach to things. We don't just take into consideration just the physical aspects, so diet and exercise. There's more to life than diet and exercise. And the crazy thing about that is I believe we realized that after working as nurses in a hospital and ICU for years and years, we learned how important the physical aspect of life is. Diet, nutrition, exercise, all of that. But then after years of talking to different people that are at their end stages of life, people that are just getting into this life, that maybe are at a very stressful point in their life or a very happy point in their life. And we got to talk to all these people, and we realized that, hey, it's not just what we consume, the external environment. It all also depends on what we are on the inside, how you treat yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you go about life, how do you present yourself to the world, how you feel you present yourself to the world. That's probably the biggest factor in this, because everything is just perception. If you look at somebody and think they're going to be a bad person, they're going to end up being a bad person. Just in your mind, you basically brought that to reality without even giving that person a chance. So that person is forever going to be to you a bad person. And just the way you view things, and you could change the way you view things.
And during this self-exploration journey, you're getting to know yourself more and more. When you first began, you're not aware of the habits, the way you react to people's behavior, how they feel about you. You are so disconnected, and eventually you understand, hey, that there's more to us than these five senses. Yes, we know how to see, touch, hear, and everything else, but we're getting deeper layers behind this. So for example, you started working out and you've realized the mind and muscle connection. You've realized that you could put your mind behind things and push this weight just as much as you physically can do it. Frontline Warriors takes you a step lower behind that layer. Now you're understanding there's more than five senses. You're building this connection between the mind, body, spirit. Now you can feel where emotions stagnate, where you're feeling. So we're helping develop these senses and these tools to really self-explore yourself. And that is the ultimate journey that we are all on. And that's why we say it, that we are all Frontline Warriors, and this is everybody's battle. We are in different points on this journey, but we all have the same battle, which is that common enemy that we mentioned, and we want to be your resource to fight that enemy.
So this brings our Frontline Warriors journey into 5 pillars. Live it, not in it. Just be. Inhale, exhale. Be well, and right now. Live it is the key concept of this. It's the first pillar, the top pillar that holds everything together. So that's a big focus on exploration, getting to know the environment around you, because that does in the beginning affect you of who you are. So you have to travel, you have to experience life outside of this norm that you're housed in, because then you're never going to have different viewpoints. You're never going to have, you could say, a fair outlook in life, because all you have seen and done is just these things that you've been doing in this little dome. And exploring, traveling, viewing new cultures, or just talking to somebody different that maybe is not in the same office building, maybe someone that doesn't have the same views as you, just that aspect of it, it preps you for your journey to life.
And everybody has a different journey that they discovered that, hey, I'm living in it, not living it. Our personal journey was through travel nursing. Through all this experiences, just like you mentioned, we've realized that we have our own opinions. We don't want to be a product to society. We want to go after what our desires are and just ultimately grow and not be judged for, not care for it. Look at kids when they're young growing up. They're playing in the mud, getting dirty. They don't give an absolute F-bomb about what people think. But all of a sudden, as adults, we grow this thick skin and care about judgment and everything else and social conditioning. You should get married at this time, have babies then, get married by 30. It's all a facade. It's all social conditioning. So we've realized how to be more plugged into the source and actually living it, the life that you have, that you're embodied in.
It's very easy for us to live in it. The key thing is like you said, you have to live it. You have to enjoy what you're doing. The thing about this is I see some people going on vacation, or maybe you can see it in your friends or whoever, your loved ones, and they're going on vacation almost as if they're going on vacation for somebody else, not really taking in the whole experience. They're just doing it for the social points or just to say they did it, but they could internally care less if they're there or not, or they prefer to be somewhere else, but they still did this because they were thinking about more of the whole instead of your independent being.
And we've realized, too, that books can only get you so far. Knowledge is one aspect of living the life that you truly desire. The second component is experience. And that's all part of living it. The second pillar that we've focused on through Frontline Warriors is just be. To be mindful, to be aware of the life that you're living, your emotions, your thoughts, what upsets you. One thing we focus on is triggers. A lot of people associate triggers with negative things. For example, if you get anxious about something, what if that's just something that is a fear that you have to lean more into? So this is more theory-based, but it teaches you awareness and how to just be present, because a lot of us like to predict, and that you just get in the way of yourself. If you look at consciousness, it is playful like a child. It is unpredictable. It is creative. And a lot of times we have to just trust the unfolding that is happening in our life. Trust the moments, whether they're good or bad. They're all experiences teaching you this path that you're on, and just trust the journey.
Especially with thoughts and emotions. Sometimes you have to just let your thoughts and emotions just be. Because sometimes we have these thoughts that enter our mind and we think about for a little bit, and we realized, why does this matter? And that's where overthinking comes to play. You have to just be okay with the present moment, the present time. A lot of times we are focused on the future, a lot of times focused on the past, but we forget that without this present moment, you don't have the past, you don't have the future.
Yes.
Because this is where you are in time. So why are you so focused on the what ifs, what can be, what should have been, if those don't really matter? Because all you have is just right now. So you just gotta be. You gotta go with the flow.
And just being is very difficult when you're first starting off, because the power of concentration is important. Peter and I had this whole journey with meditation and doing things to focus your discipline and awareness, because if you can hone in on your awareness, you can be in touch with yourself and what you're doing, what you're feeling, where your emotions are, where you're consuming too much, what you should be eliminating, what's not feeding your energy, what's not serving you. There's just so much to it. So mindfulness is the fundamental thing for being able to live that life and just be.
You could think about it in a way where live it, not in it is more of you learning the external environment, how it affects everything, and then just be is your journey through yourself. So you're learning both the external environment, and now you're learning about the internal environment.
Yeah. And it's beautiful how all these pillars are interconnected and they all depend on each other to live this conscious life and to be armed for the battle and the journey that you're on.
Mm-hmm. Pillar number 3, we have inhale, exhale. That is the strength and a work of breathing. And it's one of those things where it's a little bit hard to control, and you don't really understand how important breathing is until you are dealing with a struggle. If you have ever been in an ice bath or a sauna or even doing any kind of sports, how much times did you get winded? How much time did you get tired? Not because you're physically tired, but because you couldn't catch your breath. That's how important the breath is to us. Breath is life, and you have to get you have to get that under control. That's the first thing to living is learning how to breathe and doing a full breath. Because if you don't do a full breath, you're never living a full life.
We definitely take that for granted as far as not breathing fully and always being in fight or flight and not destimulating that nervous system. Inhale, exhale is also very important to start gaining awareness of where your mind might wander. And that's where you can put a focus. Through the meditation practices, the whole point is not to just empty your mind. You're just letting your consciousness flow through you and see where you're being distracted. Or if in your meditation you were focused on that one specific event 1 week ago, maybe it's time to think about it a little bit more, journal, feel that emotion of what that experience gave you and see how you can troubleshoot it, because that's just another trigger. So inhale, exhale is a big part of breathing. It's also yoga and that part of meditation. So a very important pillar to develop awareness.
Inhale is almost like you could consider it a bridge between the external environment and our internal environment. It's a physical thing that we have to do. For example, if you're trying to figure out, hey, what's really stressing me in life? What is the one thing that you can always do? Is breathe. Take a nice long breath in, hold it, long breath out, hold it, and then it just allows you to think about it. It allows you to maybe compartmentalize your thoughts, maybe help you figure out what the actual importance is of a certain matter. But it's also physical too, because you're physically breathing, so you're hyperoxygenating your body, so it works in both ways. And this is why this is like a bridge from the external environment to the internal environment, because just breathing, it's a physical thing, but it's also a mental thing at the same time. Yeah. And this almost bridges the gap. And this is no matter where you are in life. Doesn't matter if you weigh 800 pounds and you can't do any physical activity, or even if you're a marathon runner. Doesn't matter what your health is, what are you currently doing. All of us could all inhale and exhale. So if you're stuck in life, you don't know what to do, you don't know where your priorities should be, you just feel lost, what can you do? You just breathe. Just breathe and just take that time to yourself and realize that, hey, I'm breathing, I could do this. And then everything slowly starts coming together.
And you always have that available for you. The fourth pillar is be well. Be well focuses on nutrition, fitness, conscious eating. So Peter and I's journey, we've tried multiple diets. We've realized that you are what you eat, literally, and how bad processed foods are. We've realized the study of epigenetics, how we always assumed that disease is passed on through generations, but it is, but not as much as your environment. And epigenetics exposes that if you're eating bad, more than likely you're going to have genes get turned on and off that's going to affect your well-being. So be careful what you consume, and consume could be anything. To be well is wellness in all aspects, whether you're consuming music, you're consuming friends, you're consuming food. It could be faith. It could be the fitness that you're partaking in. Everything has an effect on you, even social media. So just be careful on what you consume. And this is the pillar that focuses on all that, because in our society, we have a pandemic of everything.
Same way a bad meal could upset your stomach and ruin your day. Same way a bad conversation could ruin your day. Same way let's say you're lactose intolerant, you drank a lot of milk, ate some cheese. Now you're going to have some you could say foreseen circumstances arise, and that's going to be a whole day issue. And it's crazy how that works. And it's also aligned to when somebody tells you something negative and you get stuck on a negative and you consume it and it keeps going and going, that ruins your day as well. So you have to realize that when you have a bad day, there's multiple factors of that bad day. It could be influenced by the food that you ate. It could be influenced by someone's words. And this is where the consumption takes place.
Exactly.
This is where be well. Yeah, this is where be well is basically has its fundamentals.
And we can be worried about the other pillars, but if you don't focus on be well, you're always going to have a negative biofeedback loop if your nervous system is not syncing up, or your gut bacteria sending negative messages to the brain because of how you're treating it. So being well is fundamental to the mind-body connection, so you could be a well-encompassed human being that's pursuing their desires.
Yeah, 100%. And it's easy to get stuck on the physical aspect of consumption, but you have to realize the non-physical aspect of consumption. For example, like you mentioned, books, what are you watching on TV, the social media. We're all surrounded by TV, by YouTube, by social media. Everything that we have is done with our eyes. So think about your eyes as a consumer as well. And if you're always consuming negative articles, keep reading about wars, keep reading about hunger, keep reading about these negative things, and never reading about something joyful or something that's going to help you in the long run, like meditating, learning some new stretches, how to properly walk, little things like that, how to properly sit, anything, how to make a new recipe. If you're consuming all negatives and all these fear-based things, it's only gonna influence your mind in that way as well. Same way that cheese is going to affect the lactose intolerant person's body in a negative way. You also have to be careful about that. And that's one thing that people fail to realize, how you can almost say manipulating these electronics are to us.
Yes.
So you got to stay well.
The fifth pillar that you need in order to be on this journey with us is the pillar right now. And that's self-discipline, taking action, leaning into your fears, adopting self-growth, not being in the comfort zone, and just getting after it. Because you can be saying anything you want, you can set goals, but action is what determines your character. Like your character, the values that you have, the action you take after it is going to create your destiny and who you are going to be. And your destiny is your faith. We all have free will, and you have to do the things that you say you're going to do. I feel like we've learned this pillar very well after doing the 4x4x48 and understanding how powerful that mind is, that there's a governor that's in control, that's saying, hey, Matt, take it easy. You don't have to run this mile. You don't have to do this. And if you can push past that limit, it's there available for you. People say that we operate at 80% or 50% of our potential, whatever the number is. Just know that you can get beyond yourself. And that's what this pillar is. Whatever self-limiting beliefs you had in the past, the time is now to get after, and we teach you how to do that in this pillar.
And it's very beautiful how the 4 prior pillars really stem down into this one. Live it, not in it, which is your external environment. Just be, which is the internal you. Inhale and exhale, which bridges the gap between internal and external. Be well, where you now learn about how important consumption is, into right now, which means you have all the information. Now you just have to act on it.
Yes.
And that stems from that, because all the other pillars aren't going to come to work if right now it doesn't happen, because then you just basically ran a race backwards almost.
Yeah, and in life, there's no such thing as stagnation and being content. Content doesn't exist. You're either growing or death is happening, because that's the way nature partakes in things with seasons. Things are always changing. So in this battle for your mind, your center consciousness, your center point in your mind is always going to be adjusting, and you're always going to have to realign yourself. And that's why this is a constant battle that you have to show up for yourself. Even our experience with nursing and patients and everything that we see in life, a lot of people want to wait for some savior to come down and help them and to create positive change in their life, or I'll do this when this time is right. Time is now. Time is now to take care of yourself. And this journey starts within, and we all have this like-minded mission that we're on, is to overcome ourselves.
There is no perfect time. We've mentioned this in our prior pillars. The only time you have is the time right now. Matt mentioned the season changing. Seasons change all the time. Same to your thoughts. Same way your personality changes. Your cravings, things you enjoy, they change all the time. So the only time you're going to really enjoy taking initiative is right now, because this is the only time that you're fully encompassing that happiness of what you want to actually do. Later, you're going to have different feelings about it. And then later on, you're going to reflect on those feelings that you had that you wish you acted upon. So you have to take action right now. No perfect time.
Yes, and that's why the ultimate battle is in your mind. Each individual person is a frontline warrior, and we would love to be your source of getting to your getting to know that enemy, which is your shadow side, and help you integrate that with yourself and just live life and enjoy it and live it, not in it. Don't be the product of society and just cultivate your life.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. You guys are all amazing.
See you on the next one. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show and want to support the podcast,
Please subscribe, leave us a comment, or give us a like on all platforms.
at We Are Frontline Warriors.